Ah, there it is, the game that started it all. Oh, Sonic 1, what a concept. A game where instead of you playing as the general hero archetype, you're instead stepping into the shoes and playing as a cocky little speedster with an attitude, and it is up to him to save the world by defeating the egg-shaped man Dr. Robotnik from capturing all the woodland critters and turning them into robots, as well as collecting the 6 Chaos Emeralds before he can collect them, and this is done by using that aforementioned speed to zoom your way through the zones of this game. Those zones ranging from the rolling green hills to the dazzling spectacle that is Starlight Zone, to the more difficult zones like the murky depths of Labyrinth Zone, and the metallic madness that is Scrap Brain Zone. And through your many trials and tribulations in this game, you'll find yourself collecting rings to survive. Since these rings act as your life source, as long as you have at least one, you won't get killed. And you will also find yourself getting a few power-ups like a shield or invincibility. And well, going back to the life system in this game, the rings, I gotta say, this is a great health system because it allows for players to make mistakes and easily recover. And it's perfect for a game type like this because you're always going fast, you never have enough time to react to everything. And it even allows for rewards for more skilled players, because if you make it to the end of most acts with 50 rings in a hand, you get to go to the special stages, which is a spinning maze where you can collect extra rings as well as the aforementioned Chaos Emeralds, but also get bonus extra lives and continues. And well, that more or less covers the gameplay. So now we'll move on to the other stuff that I want to knock out, starting with this game's graphics. And well, this game was made to show off what exactly the 16-bit power of the Genesis could do. And well, the graphics look great. The game manages to make the worlds seem like living and breathing and even like bigger than they are, with like the background scrolling as you run. And then you throw in the great designs for the enemies and the characters. You end up with a style that defines this whole entire series right from the beginning. And that covers everything I wanted to talk about with this game's graphics, so now we'll move on to the music. And well, to begin, I am reminded of the stereotype of how every Sonic game has good music. And I am happy to say that it seems that it started off right here at the beginning, with virtually every single song in this game for every single zone becoming iconic in its own way, and the music in this game becoming the defining sound for the entire series, and I would assume the entire Genesis as a whole. And that's everything I wanted to talk about with this game's music, and really everything I want to talk about with this game outside of its, like, negatives. Because although I do think this is a good game, there are some problems with it. They obviously weren't going to get everything perfect on their first try, and there are 2 major issues that many people have with this game, including me. And these issues kind of go hand in hand, the first of which being this game's major difficulty spike, and second, it not delivering fully on the speedy platforming that it promises. Now, as for the first complaint, this game starts off easy, then it gets average like a normal game, but once you get to the last third, it just spikes in difficulty all of a sudden. Because Labyrinth Zone is just a really slow water level that will make you, like, drown more often than not. Starlight Zone can get annoying with its bottomless pits, the fans that push you all over the place, and those annoyingly placed bomb enemies that you can't even kill. And then there's Scrap Brain Zone, which just goes all in with like a little bit of everything. And I mean, I get it, it's the final level of the game, it's supposed to be hard, but not this hard. Especially considering that Act 3 is a retread of Labyrinth Zone. But having said all that, that brings me to the second problem that this game has, the more important one I would say. That being that this game falls short on its promise of a speedy platformer. Obviously not enough to completely weigh the game down, but enough to make it noticeable and needed to be pointed out. There are just so many sections in this game where you're just going so slow, going at the pace of the game instead of your own. Like with you needing to sluggishly push something, or have you ride something very slowly across the lava, or wait for an opening from slow-moving platforms so you can move on. This can get quite annoying at some points in the game, especially in Labyrinth Zone where like the water just makes you move through at a snail's pace. And then there's even, I suppose, getting into the special stages, where you basically have to play it slow and steady in order to make it to the end of the level without losing your 50 rings. But anyway, that's all I gotta say about those complaints, as well as the game as a whole. So yeah, this was a good first step for the series. Admittedly, it could have been better, but you can't get everything right on your first try. I always found it funny how much of a difference getting all the Chaos Emeralds in this game is compared to the sequel, with this game being such a minuscule difference in the endings, and then in Sonic 2 it's literally supersonic.